Well, President Trump is about to deliver on another major campaign promise. In just a few hours, he'll be signing an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education, returning education authority to the states. Trump claims the current system has failed our kids, and the numbers back him up. Look at this. American children are falling behind in subjects that they will need to use for the rest of their lives. Meanwhile, teachers' unions are getting their way, successfully lobbying to remove basic requirements like reading and writing tests. So where does that leave our kids? Where does that leave our students? Behind the curve. One student in Connecticut claims that she was allowed to graduate with honors, by the way, despite being illiterate. And that, Joey, is the subject of a lawsuit she's filing on those same grounds.
Yeah, it's a crazy world, but it shows you how American it is. You can be illiterate and file a lawsuit, so I guess you have that going for you. I'm going back and forth on this, trying to learn what the Department of Education does. I have a principal in my family. I have a close friend that his job is to bring in the grants from all over to keep his county school system going there in Georgia. And what I've learned is that the part of the Department of Education that provides these grants to states and block grants for when most of your kids are under the poverty line, things like that, those are very important and necessary. It's when you read a headline this morning that the Department of Education sent $100 million to universities to train future K-12 social workers on DEI, that's when you need to raise an eyebrow and say, wait just a minute. What's being taught is still largely owned by the states. And what is misrepresented about the Department of Education is they can send this amount of money to this school district, they're going to use it to buy more teachers. You send that same amount of money to this school district under the same label, and they're going to use it to buy DEI social workers. And that's the difference.
And Kaylee, Joey mentions necessary. Look, we know an act of Congress will actually dismantle it. So Secretary McMahon says, look, we are keeping the good ones here. We're just trimming the fat. We are trimming the bureaucratic bloat, she said.
Yes, and speaking of that bloat, the Department of Education spends $800 billion a year. Heritage Foundation had an amazing way of looking at this. They said the average rent in the country is $1,400. So your average rent, to fund what is happening with the Department of Education, you would have to pay it 571 million months. That means 47.6 million years. And what are you getting in return for 47 million years of rent? You're getting students who are failing in their classrooms and liberal indoctrination. As Heritage said, I hope you can sublet your apartment for that amount of money. Just final point, Politico Playbook had an excellent way of framing this. Though I'm sure they meant it negatively, they're a Beltway publication. This is the wholesale destruction of the liberal state. It is not just the Department of Education. He is gutting liberal Washington, D.C. in a way that they say could be permanent. Thank God.
And Harris, Kaylee talks about, what you're getting for your money. Well, the reality is public sentiment reflects exactly that. 73% of the public are dissatisfied with the quality of public education. So it seems to me similar to the criminals being deported. Who is defending the dissatisfaction and why? Teachers union is the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I asked Caroline Leavitt today, once you get rid of the Department of Education, now you've got the most powerful things next to that. That would be the teachers union. And this is where states have to decide who they're going to be. It's just like any other issue in a state. And you've got to have that direct line with people. You mentioned something that really hit me between the eyes, because you said, well, some districts are going to use the money for this, others are going to use it for this. Our focus should always be on the teachers and the students. Always, always, always. I can't imagine how far afield we go when we look at items like DEI or anything else. We are underperforming in this country to a really bad economic future level. Yep. Like, we're not gaming this out. These are our little ones that in 20 years are going to be competing on the world stage. And those 74% who are dissatisfied, they're already competing on that stage, and that's part of the problem. They know they're not ready.
This is why U.S. companies are having to hire data programmers and computer engineers and data scientists from India.
There you go.
This is the problem. We have spent $3 trillion since 1979 only to see our children fall behind year after year, and it's got to stop. As far as empowering the states, I think this will be a good thing for parents, because I believe this will actually empower them to, which they did during COVID. I think this will take it a step further to get more involved with the school boards, because if all the power and the financing goes to the states and to these districts, this is where the parents are really going to get, I think, the payoff that they need, and that is that their child should have a decent education that they can compete on the global stage We can't right now. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. And like that mom said yesterday, I don't want to co-parent with the government, certainly not with the teachers' unions. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.